Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the In-Groove in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm doing the new arrival video for August 6, 2021. Ton of stuff this week. You know, we're past Record Store Day a couple weeks now. Now things are starting to come pretty hot and heavy. There's also a lot of cool pre-orders to tell you guys about this week. First off, Ozzy's finally doing a reissue of No More Tears. That comes out September 17th. It came out originally in that box set that he did. What was it? I did an unboxing on it a while back. That was kind of an exclusive to his website only. Almost every album, solo work, it was autographed. That was a killer box set. But now they're finally doing at least that title singly. And I'm guessing most of the other titles from that box set will eventually come. It's on black vinyl, but so what? Mark Knopfler's got a studio box set coming out. This is going to be everything from 96 to 07. So 11 LP set. That comes out December 10th. That's a cool box because if you're a Mark Knopfler fan, those albums are extremely expensive on vinyl. A lot of those are $200+ albums. So you'll be able to get it all in one shot on a box set. Lady Gaga's got another album coming out with Tony Bennett called Love for Sale. That is October 1st. Also, fantastic news, for September 24th, we've got 2 more Blue Note classics. These are all analog, cut by Kevin Gray. I've talked about them on the channel many times. They sound absolutely fantastic. You've got Eric Dolphy's Out to Lunch and Herbie Hancock's Maiden Voyage. One of Herbie's, if not Herbie's, best albums. You know, probably the same thing for Eric Dolphy. Phenomenal records for you jazz fans. Also, the week before, we got 2 Tone Poets come out. Wayne Shorter's All Seeing Eye and a Jerry Mulligan title that originally came out on World Pacific, I think. But yeah, that's it for pre-orders. But let's take a look at the massive pile of new arrivals. Let me see if I can somewhat lop these together. Okay, starting with this week, we've got the 2 new Tone Poets. Sonny Clark's My Conception. Fantastic McCoy Tyner Expansions. Very familiar with this. I mean, this looks killer. Hank Mobley, Paul Chambers, Art Blakey. Always fantastic. Donald Byrd. I mean, this looks really, really good. But always a good week of music when you get 2 new Tone Poets. All analog, cut by Kevin Gray. Art Blakey chipping in. I believe this originally was a European Record Store Day release. But here we've got the standard, let's see, this is the North American Clear Vinyl Edition. First time on vinyl, limited to 500 copies. Boy, that's not a lot. So these will be sold out for most of you watching this video now. But, man, I don't even think I grabbed one of these. All right, before I publish this video, I'm going to have to go ahead and get one of these before they're sold out. Yeah, super cool. Art Blakey, my favorite drummer of all time. Script for a Jester's Tear. Marlian. I get these releases, but you know, truth be told, you know, the only people that ever buy these, I want to say, are the Brits. Huge band in Britain, but don't sell very well locally. But they do sell. Shinedown. Amaryllis. This is a limited edition rustic green vinyl. New album from Jackson Browne, Downhill from Everywhere. Yeah, kind of a cool cover. Kind of a thinker. Couple of we release jazz titles. Ryo Fukui, this is a letter from Showboat. Great label. They do a lot of Japanese jazz releases. This is the Stuff Comb 5. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Nice tip-on jacket. Says it's half-speed mastered. Suburb Sessions, oozing with funk and filled with spaced out sounds. That's a hype sticker with my name all over it. Let's see, Dark Throne, Eternal Halls. Donna Summer, The Wanderer. That was my phone texting. Apparently Charlie Watts is going to miss the newest upcoming Rolling Stones tour. I'm a little disappointed about that. I was thinking of going to Las Vegas for that in October. So I'll have to contemplate that again. Willie Nelson, Make Way 4. Look how square Willie Nelson looks on this record. Friday Music. All right, Donna Summer, Another Place, Another Time. OMD, we got Universal and Liberator, one of the best concerts I ever seen. Not because it's the greatest band ever, although I really dug the show. It was because of how much they really enjoyed what they were doing. They were so enthusiastic. It's like seeing one of these legacy bands, maybe in their prime. I kind of envisioned like this would have been the energy they had, the infectiousness that they shown on stage, by how much of a good time they were having. You know, you would have thought it was 30 years ago. It was a good time. They were on the ticket with the B-52s, one of my favorite 80s bands of all time. And unfortunately, they had that kind of like get me out of here attitude. It just was like, such a bummer. Brian May, Back to the Light. First time reissued since 1992. All right, Barbra Streisand 2, Release Me 2. Let's see, Foxing, Draw Down the Moon. This is on light pink vinyl. Kind of an interesting image there on the back. This is kind of a cool cover. Eyes Wide Shut. This is the soundtrack, but it has like this picture frame kind of gatefold cover to where you slide the record out, and that's the picture frame left. So pretty cool. Like I've told you guys, they're starting to finally redo the classic series Blue Note titles, all analog, cut by Kevin Gray. The Real McCoy just got restocked. All right, we got a chunk of Mondo titles. Mondo is a label that specializes pretty much in soundtracks. Most of their stuff is extremely limited, sells out quick, goes up, you know, it's worth buku bucks in the future because everything is really limited run. And they do a lot of like different color variants, artwork variants. But yeah, we are still open. Original motion picture soundtrack. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I do not watch horror films, but I do like horror soundtracks. Here is a movie that I saw the trailer on this, and it was like, even the trailer was one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. This is an amazing soundtrack. I've heard the CD, I got the CD of it, and I ripped it onto the media server here in the store, and it was so compressed, it sounded so awful. I have the record myself. It's actually quite good sounding, but it's a killer, I mean, it's killer 80s snapshot. David Bowie, Peter Schilling, George Michael, After the Fire, Susie and the Banshees. I mean, that's just half of disc 1, or close to a third of disc 1. There's a ton of stuff that's on this. The movie, I don't know if I'd ever want to see it again, but the soundtrack was fantastic, and I still listen to it. Let's see, Marvel's The Punisher. We've got News of the World by James Newton Howard. Possessor. Music by Jim Williams. I think that's John Williams' cousin. No, it's probably not John Williams' cousin. All right. Got some 10-inch video game soundtracks. We've got Metal Gear. And I've got Castlevania 1 and 2. I will say on a side note, my best friend, I pretty much didn't see him for a year because he was hooked on playing Castlevania. This was like maybe 5 years ago. He bought an old Super Nintendo or whatever it was available on originally. And yeah, he sat in his house for like a year playing Castlevania. Aquaman. This is a tri-fold 3-disc set. But you can see kind of what I'm talking about, how they change, you know, they kind of do their own artwork. Motion picture soundtrack to Happily. Michael Giacchino. All right, and Thor Ragnarok. All right. Say Anything. This kind of brings back a little bit of memory. So I went and saw, I was wanting to go, there was a screening that Cusack did of this movie. And I remember I had the high fidelity soundtrack that came out for Black Friday, record store day. And I had a sealed copy number 3 that I actually got in the store, 6 years ago. And a buddy of mine was a guy who always waited outside for autographs. And I did it a couple times with him before. I wasn't a big fan of it because everybody was never, they were all really, really unfriendly. And I just hated the experience. He didn't care. He just wanted the autograph. But it was such an iconic movie, especially as a record store owner. I thought it'd be so cool to get it autographed. There was 3 of us outside. He comes outside, or this is maybe on the way there. He kind of tried sneaking by everybody wearing black shades and a hat. And I mean, he was all he might even had one of those little plastic mustache. He was hiding himself. Anyways, my buddy's like, "Oh yeah, John, can I get your autograph? Can I get your?" And he was really not having it. He was just not a friendly guy. He spent maybe 2 minutes arguing with my friend on why he wasn't wanting to give him an autograph. He was going to eBay it and all this stuff, and he could have just signed the records. Anyways, he finally just said whatever, and he signed it. And I'll show you guys on a live stream sometime. You guys need to ask me. His autograph on my beautiful copy number 3, high fidelity, is a black line in Sharpie. I was so pissed off. I'm like, oh man, you ruined my record. What are you gonna do? That was his autograph, a black line on a Sharpie on the front of my record. It's just vandalized, if you ask me. But I talked about meeting musicians, meeting people, famous people in that George Benson video. And that was maybe my last experience. It was after that, I think I did 2 or 3 times I went with them. And it was after that, I was like, all right, I don't want to meet nobody no more. I'm done. Don't care. Nightmare City, original motion picture soundtrack. So, La Mateos Ninja Eliminator Trilogy. All right. Let's see. We've got Shazam. And we've got Halloween 5. This is the original video game soundtrack for Spider-Man. Miles Morales. Okay, so last week I didn't show you because the label made sure that no stores got this record before Friday. Billie Eilish is Happier Than Ever. So I have the 2 LP black vinyl version. I have the cassette, which has got a brown case. I have the standard CD version. And I have what looks to be a little mini deluxe CD. Comes in a little box, has some photos and lyrics. Yeah. So the only thing I don't have is the indie store brown exclusive. I only got a very small amount. If you are getting one, more than likely, I have probably sent you a shipping notification. I had to cancel about 75% of the orders, unfortunately. I apologize. If you haven't gotten a notification, you've probably gotten an email from us stating, look, would you like us to cancel the order or would you like it on black vinyl? It is only the second time in 5-6 years of being open that I've ever had to allocate something. The first time was with the Paul McCartney 3 on white vinyl. They did not tell us that they were only making 4,000 of them. I only had it for a couple of hours on the website, but I sold enough to where I was heavily, heavily, heavily allocated. And now the Billie Eilish Indie Brown. So I really try not to do it. I'm very conservative. Knowing what I'm going to get, putting it on the website. You buy something pre-order from a store, you expect to get it. I mean, yeah, I'm with you guys. I apologize, but that's just kind of what it is. Sometimes the labels, Billie Eilish is hot. She sells a lot of records, and they didn't make a lot in brown. Got plenty in black, though. I am not familiar with this. I didn't actually notice this until I was throwing everything in the box. This is Thelonious Monk, and this is just a self-titled Monk. Not really sure what this is. I'm going to have to do a little research on this afterwards. If any of you guys read, maybe Japanese, you can get an idea of what that album's about. All right, we've got a Sponge album on clear vinyl, Lavatorium. All right, Paul McCartney Reimagined. This is McCartney 3. This is essentially the artist doing cover versions of the tracks. This is the Indie Store exclusive gold vinyl. I showed this, I think, on black vinyl. I don't think I've showed it on the Indie exclusive gold vinyl yet. So Brian Ferry, I think, is starting to do a reissue campaign. This is Boys and Girls. Yeah, look at that. I didn't even know this. Let's see. On 180-gram heavyweight vinyl, remastered and cut. I tell you guys all the time, remastered from the original analog tape means nothing. They could have took the tape, digitized it back in 1987, and now they're making a record from that cut from 1987, that digitization. This says remastered and cut from the original analog quarter-inch tapes at Abbey Road Studios in London. One of the few places that can actually do an all-analog cut. There's not a lot of complete analog mastering chains around, but they have one. They also do a lot of half-speed stuff, which is digitized. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of those in the series look like. Nathaniel Rateliff. I've not heard this album. This is Red Rocks 2020. I've heard some of his stuff with the Night Sweats. It was actually quite good. This is on translucent black ice vinyl. All right, another Sony Japanese import. This is Miles Davis Roundabout Midnight. Now, what's cool about these is, and they've done a few others in the series. They've done Kinda Blue. They've done Someday When My Prince Will Come, Time Out, Bill Evans in Tokyo. The two newest titles are the Phil Woods. And what is that? Anna Bryston? What is it? Bella Burton? I can barely read it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not familiar with that album. But what's cool about this is they replicate the tip-on cover. It's replicated more in the fashion of how they would have did these albums in the 50s as opposed to now. It's not glossy or anything, but it is a tip-on jacket. They put the album in an actual outer, like a DJ sleeve to prevent seam splitting. But yeah, I just got a chunk of these in, and I probably have a lot of the other ones in stock as well. They do not sound bad. They're not, they're good. They're good sounding. It's nothing like vintage vinyl, vintage Japanese vinyl, where it gets all, much better than the modern stuff is much better. Henry Franklin, The Skipper at Home on Black Jazz. I got to tell you, these Black Jazz titles, every time I see them, I'm just floored. I never thought I lived to see the day when Black Jazz had a vinyl reissue campaign. These things sold hardly at all when they were new. Outside of the vinyl and the real deep jazz community, most people have no clue what these are, but it was an iconic avant-garde jazz label. The Awakening Mirage, great album. So cool to see those in print. They're impossible to find. Very, very seldomly will you ever see a Black Jazz title come into the store. Dyke and the Blazers, Down on Funky Broadway, Phoenix 1996 to 1997. Although Dyke was from, I think it was New York, he became famous in Phoenix. And a lot of people don't realize that. But Funky Broadway, a lot of people don't realize, is actually referring to not the New York Broadway, but our Broadway in South Phoenix. Very first release was Funky Broadway, and that was on Artco, one of the labels out of Arizona. I think they did 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 or 4 releases. Funky Broadway, they did maybe 4 releases, and they are all really, really expensive 45s. But his first 45, before it got sold to, I think it was the original Sound Group, or, it was on Artco. But yeah, cool local connection. A lot of you guys don't know because I haven't told you guys yet, but if you look in the far distant corner over there, we are actually home to the Arizona Musical Archive. That whole back wall is actually rare posters, albums. Not something we sell, but kind of a museum. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff. If you're local, you guys should really come and check it out. It is quite cool. I will be doing a video in the very near future about it and kind of showing you guys what's over there. LCD sound system. The Long Goodbye, the complete audio recordings of the final show live at Madison Square Garden, April 2nd, 2011. Looks like a 5-disc set. Okay, and for you Beatles and George Harrison fans, we've got All Things Must Pass, every which way you could possibly imagine. So first, I'll start at the bottom. We have the 2 CD set. Standard album, just available. Keep in mind, guys, this is a remix too. This is not just another pressing of the CD. This is a complete remix that was done by Paul Hicks. There is a 3-disc set as well of this that I'm out of right now that has some bonus tracks. This is actually the Super Deluxe CD set, which comes with 5 CDs, a Blu-ray, which has a digital 5.1 mix, also has an Atmos, and it looks like it has 24-bit 192 PCM on it as well. So for you digital guys, this is everything you're going to want. Then it gets into the vinyl. So you've got essentially the standard album remixed, 3-disc set in the same configuration it came out originally. Then you've got the 5-disc set, which is, what's it say? Session, outtakes, and jams, and you'll notice the box is a little thicker. Otherwise it looks the same. Then you've got the big guy here, which is the Super Deluxe 8-disc set, big book, and this thing is a monster. So, looks like the standard album from the front, but when you turn it over, you'll see that there's a couple of box sets within there. I'm guessing kind of maybe that's a book. But yeah, so we got your George Harrison, any which way you want. Oop. So yeah, this has been a busy new arrival week. So guys, check us out online at www.theingroove.com. Until next time.